Okay, so good morning, everyone. In the last class, we talked about prop drilling, and we said that prop drilling. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
That's it.
Okay. So in the last class, we talked about prop drilling, and we said it is when you're trying to use a particular state or function inside a component. You have to drill down into the component just to be able to do that. And we had a scenario where, yeah, we had a list of people, well, which is uh, a state holding an array of objects, different superheroes. We also had this our remove person function, which we were supposed to use to filter or delete each person. But then we saw that we had the list component. Inside the list component required people array, which we passed inside. And then inside here now, you now need to map over people to create a single person. Now a single person just displays the person's name and the button. So our duty or our job was to find a way that we can move this remove item, remove person from this point down to this point. And the only way we could do that, because this is where the ID is, you need an ID to delete a person, to remove a person from this array. So we had to look for a way to pass that down. And the only way we could do that was to pass props from from parent component, remove person, which is this. So you can pass functions down. That's another thing that we got to learn. Besides variables or states, you can pass those things down. So remove person took remove person, and then we got remove person here. We still passed remove person here. So it's more like you're amplifying the sounds to get to the point where you need it. So then for the single person, we had to spread out the person object so that we are able to get the ID and the name. And then it was the ID that we were able to pass into the remove person here. So after this remove person, we pass it down here. And then we were able to be able to click on a button. This is actually context. So we're able to click on a button to be able to remove the items. So that was programming. Now, I also now said that, well, thing about prop drilling is that if your app starts getting bigger, prop drilling is not effective, it's not very good. So you have to think of alternatives for that. You have to think of alternatives for that. And now the way around that was using context API. Now, context API is when you have to like manage your states and manage your functions at a global level. So when we talk about managing those things at a global level, it's more like you don't have to pass in props the way we're doing it. So however deeply nested that component is, so fast you wrap, so fast you connect your files properly and do the necessary things, you'll be able to get to everything. You'll not be able to, you don't need to amplify and amplify and amplify. So for context API, what we did was we had to bring in this hook, use context. Then we had to create a person context. So this was because we were doing this inside a single file. So we have person context, where we had to get the React.create context. So we had to create this context. Now, this create context, like I said, it brings in two things. It brings a couple of things, but two important things are the provider and the consumer. But what we need for context is basically the provider. Now, the state is normal as usual. Remove person is normal as usual. But then for us to use our context, you need to wrap the person context. Person context dot provider. So this is going to provide the values. So person context dot provider, and then you pass the values. So it is from here now that you're going to pass wherever you need, anywhere you need this. Now, this person context has to wrap like the main parent component. So like I said, if you are working on an app, like if you're working on an app, let's say we have a specific app, not like pieces of code like this, you have to wrap the app itself. You have to wrap the app itself. So you go to main.jsx, wrap the app itself with this person.context provider, and that is how you will pass in. Well, you'll be passing in your, that's where you, since that has everything, that's where you'll be passing your um your functions and variables or states. That's where you'll be passing them. So after wrapping this now came down here, we are not passing remove person here. We are not passing remove person and pushing it or echoing it down. So what we did was you have to now call the use context and get the person context which we created earlier, person context. Now this person context, we just destructure it. Remember, this is an object. So you destructure the object, get the use, get the people, because that's the only thing that we need inside this component. You don't need to call other things inside because you're not using them here. So when I get that, I'm able to loop over or map through my array and create a single person. So when I do this, I come down here. So everything works as it is. I just needed to spread this. Yes, I get this. Okay. And for this part now, because it's only the remove person I need in this place. So what I needed to do was I had to also use context here and then get remove person. Then I'm able to use that remove person, pass the ID into it because that's the way we did it. So person ID goes inside here. We're able to filter out and then store it back inside the updated person and then put it as a set people. So we set people with this. So each time we do that, each time we delete, yeah, we push back the code inside the main array and the array is kind of displayed. So use state, we causes a re-render, use state causes a re-render. So that was all we did. That was what we did the last time. That was what we did the last time. I don't know if anybody has any questions so far before we go into what we have today. Any question? Yeah, Austin.
Okay, good morning, everybody. For the when you wanted to
Yeah.
consume the context API for like line 30, you said quick the structure cons people equal to
Okay.
use context, person context. So how is it possible to extract that
Okay.
person context variable? Or is it that it's actually global? Once you make it like context, it's actually global, or there's a way you pull it to the particular component. I don't know if you understand.
Okay. Okay. So let me see if I get that. So remember, it's global actually. So when we
It's global.
created this person, yes, when we created this person here, person
Yeah.
context, we use this, we are still referencing this person context. So we use it to wrap our entire application. Now this just keeps everything on a global level so that whatever you're passing inside here is able to reach wherever. So it's global, and then you're able to extract it like this. Pass you're passing this person context inside this
You know,
use context.
that's what I'm saying. The person context, as in either that you pass it from. But what if this list is in a different component? Will you still see this person context variable there?
Yes, so far as you're passing it inside here. You get?
No, I don't. Maybe you don't understand what I'm saying. Like I said in line 30, that's use context, person context. This person context itself, as in
Yes.
yes. Is it like that's what I want to know if it's global or you have to pull it to the component also?
Okay, let me see if I get what you mean. So
Yeah.
inside this single person,
Yeah.
inside the single person, I'm still using the whole use context. Wherever you need to use it, you just need to call use context. You have to pull it inside the component. You have to call use context inside the
Oh,
component. This thing is we're just doing everything on a single page. So once we call use context, yeah, or once we import use context, we're able to use it across board. So but if you have like separated components, that's if you're doing it on a separate page or file on its own, you have to call use context inside it and extract whatever you need.
okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So any other question? Okay. All right. So let's go. Okay, let's go to what we have today. So today we are going to talk about custom hooks. So yeah, so we're going to talk about custom hooks. How do you create your own custom hook? And let's see how we're able to do that. Okay, so we're going to just do the usual. I think we'll also, depending on how fast we are, we'll also look into maybe routing. Okay, so I'll just create new file and I will call this custom hook, capital letter. Let's do my RESE, create my functional component. All right. What would I need? Okay, so I need to go to my app.jsx, replace context API with custom hooks. Okay, am I importing this anywhere? Hmm, really? That's interesting. Custom hooks. Yeah. Okay. So we have our custom hook. What are we going to do inside here? So we're just going to do a, we're just going to do, I'm just going to set up a few things. I'm going to call my use states. I'm going to call use effects. Okay. So inside here, I'm just going to fetch. But first, let me just set up a few things. Okay. Okay, so let's just do const. I'll just do loading, set loading. States. I just set this to true. And I want to fetch products from a particular URL. So I'll just say products, set products. Okay. So let me just put out my URL. So thing with custom hooks is that custom hooks allows us to use functionalities. So to reuse, not use, reuse. Instead of you repeating and repeating things, you can actually just run with this. Give me a moment, let me try and pull up this. Okay. Okay. So JavaScript or sorry, I just have to type this. Let me be settings of products. And this should be a small s. Okay, so I need to confirm this, certain that this really gives us what claim it is, but I was just okay. So I actually get that. Okay, so this URL is actually correct, and so we're just going to here. What will I like to return? I just want to return give with a h2. This h2, I'm just going to dynamically render something. So I'll just say So if loading, we're just going to have loading, else. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Else it should just be else. I'll just show data. All right. So let's see what we have on our screen. Yeah, so we have loading until we're able to fulfill whatever condition, then we show the data. It's not like we need to display the data anyway. So, but then it is what it is. So let's just write our function. Should be a const. This is slower than me. Const get products, right? So this get products is going to be an asynchronous function. I can spell. So what do we need to do inside here? So we are going to get const response. So because you're using await is equals to await. Then we want to call fetch. And you know what fetch does? Takes a URL, is our URL. We will now want to do const products. So depending on await response, and you want to do this. So we'll just do set products, and then we put passing products, and then we set loading to false. All right. Okay, so but then how do we call this our function? Or is this just going to work? Is this thing just going to be handed down to us like this? Yeah, I need our input. What can I do? Yes, currently what just happens is that we have loading. So what can we do? Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So what do I do? My get products, is my get products called? And so on and so forth. What do I do? Because I think I just have a function, but yeah. Am I even able to test my function? How do I know that uh product is available? How do I do all of that? All right, so the listen is we are trying to do this, we're trying to get products. Let's say you go to a website and you want, if the person opens the website for the first time, you get a list of products. What do you do? That's the question I'm asking. How do you write your code so that when the person goes to the website, person gets a list of products? As you open the page, a list of products is gotten. How do you do that?
Is it like you need to, isn't it like you are looking to identify ourselves to page people from the website that we I'm trying to get. Yeah.
Okay. Let's say for instance, now I want to display my products on this page. I want to display my products on this page. How do I do that? How do I do that? How do I make this my function to be called when I open up my page? Hope we're not forgetting what we've learned so far. Precious, help me out now. Austin, help me out.
I think I'm going to have to put something inside the use effect and then
Okay, remember using what happens during using effects.
use effect.
Okay, so guide me. Though your audio is so I need to call this. I need to call get product on first render. This is just what I need to do. So if I go to my page now, you now see that I've gotten the data and it's no longer what it was before. What I can do is I can just console log. I can just console log products. Right. So just inspect. So I have an array of 12 items. So I've gotten my data. If I reload, see loading shows temporarily before this guy now comes in. That's like that's the way things work. Now, let's say on another page. Now, on another page, I need to like still fetch the same information. I need to still fetch the same information. Does it even make sense for me to redo the whole of this inside that same page? Remember, we have principles when we are doing programming actually. And one of them is don't repeat yourself as much as possible. Don't repeat yourself. So you always have to try to find a way that you don't keep repeating yourself. At least, even if you need to repeat yourself, well, it's to the bare minimum. But you need to find a way around that. So it doesn't make sense for me to keep redoing all of this. It doesn't make sense. So a way around this is doing what we call custom hook. A custom hook. So the custom hook that we are going to do is still going to be a JSX, no, a JS file rather. Right. Okay. Yeah, that was what it was. Okay, so let's see. So what I'll do is that's interesting. So I'm going to try something out. So inside my utils, I'm just going to create a new file because this is a helper file. I will just say use fetch because basically we want to fetch the JS. Let me try JSX. Now I'm just going to do RAFCE. Okay. Now inside here, I need a couple of things. I still need my use states. Let's use this. Use states. And then use effects. So then the other thing I need to do here is this should actually be JS, not JSX. I think should still work here. Okay, because this is just going to be a function, just a function, and I'm supposed to return something inside here. So I'm just going to go back to my custom hooks. I'm going to just copy all of this. I'm cutting it out, sir. So I come back here, I paste it inside here. Now, yeah, I have loading, I have set products, I have the whole fetch thing. Yeah. So my logic is going to just be inside here. But the additional thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be expecting a URL here. So this URL, we're going to pass it from wherever we need it. And then we're also going to call this products whenever the URL. So we are going to call this whenever the URL. That's funny. That's a funny error anyway. So we're going to call this what do they call it? This use fetch is going to run, and then we're going to do get products whenever this URL, whenever it sees a URL here. Then you want to return an object. So that object is just going to have your loading and products. So because those are the things that we need to get back from this thing. Okay. And I want to export this thing. So I'm just going to say export const, and then we have this, right? So yeah, this is this. So let's see how we can use this here. I am just going to import use fetch coming from utils and hope that works. Okay, so use fetch, use effects. Do we need this here? So we don't even need that. So we have use fetch. This is actually let me see. Where is my use fetch? I have this export default here. All right, so because I have this, do I still need this? So let me see. I want to come as So yeah, so the next thing that we so I want to try and get my use fetch. Okay, so let's see if this works. I'm doing export default, so this is going to be somewhat different. Okay, so sorry about that. So I have this use fetch, and the thing is, I actually need, remember, we were returning things from there, from this thing. So for you, we were returning things from this our use fetch. It's declared, but it's never used. And so we're going to do const. We want loading. We want, what again? Products, right? And all of this, we now need to call our use fetch. Remember, use fetch. So use fetch. Now remember I said this is a custom hook. Custom hook. Custom hook. So it's almost similar to use effect, use state, use context, and all of that. So it has to follow that pattern. So use fetch. Now this use fetch now. Remember we said it's expecting something. If you check up here, you see use fetch, URL. It's expecting a URL and it's going to return this thing to us. So I'm just going to pass my URL inside here and I'll just console log my products as usual. Okay, so let's see. I actually don't need this. So let me refresh my page and you see I still get my data here. So wherever I need to reuse this function, the only thing I need to do is destructure it like this, call the use fetch, pass the URL into it, and everything works as it's supposed to be. Now, something I need us to understand is, yes, I'm doing export default here. If I'm not doing it like this, if I'm doing it like a named export, if I do export cons, use fetch. Now, what I need to do is inside my custom hook, I am going to, this thing has to be like this for it to work because it's a named export. So named export, you have to destructure it and get it from wherever it is. But when you do export default, you can call it directly as it is. Now take note of the convention, like I said, custom hooks. Because it's a custom hook, you have to make it to be like a React hook. So it has to follow the same pattern. Use. If I make a mistake and go and instead of use fetch, I just go and use fetch and think that if I come over here, I can just come and use fetch because, well, is that the spelling? Okay, it's capital F. Yep. So I use fetch and then I just call fetch like that. Let's see, does that work? It actually works. That's very strange. Okay, but then But then I actually didn't think this was going to work. I actually didn't think this was going to work. But the actual convention is you try and use just because we are just trying to imitate React hooks. So you need to use a use fetch, and then inside here you need to also call use and same thing use. I think because it's a function, so it's just believing, okay, I'm a function, I'm just doing your bidding. So yeah, I was actually surprised that that worked actually, because I kind of used to believe that you have to use fetch for it to actually work. Yeah. Yes, the export thing is something else. So whenever they listen, so let me just go over the export stuff. So whenever you do, this thing is called a named export. So export const and then this. So this file, now this file, you have to call, so that means you can have multiple things on this file. I can have another one, export const yam. And this can just be this can just be an array self. So an array of anything. So I can have multiple this thing. So this is named export. So if I want to use this, I just go over here, add a comma here, and I have yam here. So I can just console log yam. So let me just label my this thing. I think I'm fond of not doing that. Just console log as you wish. So if I come down here, you see, yam is an empty array. So but then, so this is when you're using export const. That came to my mind. Okay. So this is when you're using export const. So export const, you can have multiple. But then when you're using default is more like you're only returning a singleton. You're only returning just one thing on this page. Just one thing on this page. If I still need to use this, I have to like destructure it. But this is assuming that, oh, this is just this file. It's just this file that I'm using here. So no need for this, no need for destructuring and all. Just call it straight up and use it. Just call it straight up and use it. So, Precious, are you clear on that? Yeah, so you can actually do multiple. You can actually do multiple stuff on it instead of just doing the default stuff. So this is use fetch. So wherever I need to pull in products like this, I can just so far as I put the URL, destructure my loading and products, because that's what we said we'll be returning every time. Call use fetch. From wherever I want to be, I can reuse that same functionality and do whatever I want to do. I don't know if we understand. Is that clear? Are we clear on that? You guys should help my life, man. Okay. Yeah, Barry, you actually came in late. You actually came in late. I'm just going to go over it quickly. So what is happening here is that, yes, initially we were fetching our products. This whole logic here was inside this our custom hook. Everything was inside here. and we're using use state. So whenever, yeah, use effect is called. So once the page renders, we call get products. Yes, and everything works out fine. But let's say we want to like on multiple pages, we want to do the same thing. So instead of us just repeating and repeating the same code everywhere, we had to come up with a custom hook. So remember that React hooks are functions. So we had to create a function that we will use. Now this function, we called it useFetch, is on a separate file. I put it in utils. So inside the utils, I moved out the whole logic about, yeah, about fetching into this. Now I gave it a URL. So it needs a URL. And basically that URL is going to fetch with that URL. So whenever that URL is passed in, it fetches and does every other thing. So this use effect will only run if this URL is available. That is when this is going to run. So then again, we need to return the necessary things that we'll use on our page. So we are returning loading, we are returning products, because on this page, we are checking if it is loading, display this. If not, that means we've already gotten the data, because from here now we are saying set products and then set loading to false. So if this does not work, this might not, this thing won't be called. So when this is done, when I get products, I then set my loading to false. So that means I have gotten the products and I'm able to display products. So because I said I'm returning two things, loading and products. For me to use it here, remember it's an object. So I have to do const, and then I get the loading and the products. And I also call this use fetch from this file. I import it. And the reason I'm using it this way is because currently it is export default. So this whole file, I'm exporting this whole file, just this. So I am able to call this use fetch. Now, if I were doing a named export where I have to do export const use fetch, inside here, I will have to destructure this, because when you use named export, like that is export const, you can have multiple. So it gives you liberty to add more and more. So that was where my YAM this thing came from. So then when I did that, I destructured it. This now checks, oh, if loading is true, do this. And I'm able to console log my products. And all of this is because this logic is on this other end. And I am just passing in the URL here. If I hover on this, you see, it expects a URL and is returning this guys. So this just needs the URL coming from here. And then every other thing happens inside the logic. And then what is returned is the value that we said we need. I don't know if that is clear. That clear?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. The issue I actually have right now with this code is, why do we have the URL on where you have the custom hooks and we don't have it for the context API? The URL.
Okay.
HTTP cost, yeah. Why do we have it here and not on the
here.
other? Yeah.
Yeah, because let's say it doesn't have to only be this. So okay. So this is just expecting two things. This can be any URL. So first you just need, let's say we have different URLs. On one page, we need a URL that returns featured products, and we have an endpoint for featured products. On another page, we need to do latest cars, and we need to return the same thing. So on this page now, what we needed to do was to return products. So we only need this URL to work on this page. So if I go to another page now and I need to get like featured products, I just need to put in the URL and just pass it inside, and it returns information just specific for that page. So, but then when you carry this URL and put it inside this now, it just makes it fixed. So that means it's only products that you can do. But like we said, use custom hooks there so that you can reuse functionality. That's the major thing. Okay. Okay, so let's see another URL. JSON placeholder, right? Let's try JSON placeholder. Okay. So let's get our to-dos. I don't know what is actually going to return anyway, but let's see. Okay. So I will just come here, replace this. Okay. Let me go back to my code, and you see. So wherever you just need to. So first you're returning data. You can just do it this way, and it just simplifies your code. So your logic is on one end. The logic is just inside here. You're returning something, and you just need to change your URL. Call this however you want and use it as you want. I don't know if you get the point. Precious, are you clear on that? Okay, Barry, how about you? Are you fine?
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay, so that is that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I think we've done that before, was we've done prop types before where we had to do this whole, so for each item that we have to, for each item that we have to, that we pass as prop, you have to specifically just do the prop type. And so it just validates the kind of prop. And I actually dropped the one for components, so where you reference it as a node and all. So, well, the thing is, it just enforces this. It's not like I've not noticed it as rigid as anything. It's just like it gives you squiggly lines where you have to just validate that, okay, this is what I have to receive, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so I think that is actually just, it's something that we've actually done before. It's something that we've done before, and so that's why I won't go into it, because I think we kind of understand. So let me just talk about it briefly anyway. So for an ID here, well, initially we needed an ID, so it was a number. For an image, whatever you're passing inside here. So I think we were expecting a string. Description too is a string. Remove book was a function. So all of these things, just depending on whatever. Yeah. Yes. So most of these things is just, you just need to check the data type and just put it along with it. Whenever you're passing, I don't know, I don't think we understand children, but probably in another class I'll talk about children. So whenever you have to pass in data, and then the whole squiggly line comes in, and you have to do this. Yeah, for some people you say just ignore it, ignore for the file or ignore for that line, that kind of thing. Yeah, sometimes it could actually be maybe, I think the best thing is just for you to validate it. If you can do that, that is like the right practice so that you know what data type you are required. Yeah, I know that that's what happens. Yes, lint ignore. So this proc types is something for another time. So, but then I think another thing I would just like to do as quickly as possible. I know I gave us, actually told us to start practicing our tailwind, and all of that. So I'm actually going to switch. I will just open folder. I'm going to switch from here and I'll go to this, my tailwind projects. Yes. All right, so in the last class, we were able to set up our tailwind project. So npm run dev. So here, um, all right, so yes. So I'm just going to do something here. I'm going to do something here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to set up routing. And well, there are different ways to set up routing. So I'm just going to set up routing for this file. What did I do? Okay. I think I have messed up something here. So let me, okay. So let me just open a new terminal. I don't know why this is happening. So npm run dev, and then I want to just be listening to. Yeah, so this is running here. And then I want to install. So I want to just install. I'm going to use React Router DOM. I'm going to use React Router DOM. So let me see. So it's just, there are different ways to do this. So I'm just going to do the quick start. So this is version 5. There's actually a version 6. But I'm just going to use this. Now I'm going to install React Router DOM. So I'm trying to set up, for this our project, I'm setting up React Router DOM. So I'll do npm I, pardon this guy, let me adjust it down here. And then I paste this React Router DOM. Okay, so wait for that to install. Wait for that to install. Okay. Now, I think it's about time for us to do that. So what I will do is, we're not going to be using our app as where we are going to be displaying other things. Now, what we are going to do is we're going to restructure this in such that we are able to switch from one page to the other, from one page to the other. So we're just going, and then we're also going to just create a mini navbar with Tailwind. So that's what I'm trying to achieve now. So we're going to create a navbar with Tailwind, and we are going to set up routing. So that's like, yeah, what I intend to do. All right, so let's see how this goes. Let's see how it goes. So inside my main, I need to import. So if you check here, you check here, you see that we have this browser router as router. So I need to import this and then set up my route. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to import. What do I need? Browser router from React router dom. So depending, you can just wrap this browser router. I think it still works the same way. All right, so this is this. And let's see, our app should be broken now. Well, it's broken. And inside the app, so I'm actually going to move this funny enough. So I'm just going to cut this out. So here, this app now, this is where I'm going to put out my routes. So your routes are just going to be on your app. Then the browser router is wrapping the entire app. Okay, so I will just create a folder. I will call it pages. This is where my pages are going to be. I'm just going to create an index. Well, whatever name you choose to even call itself. You can decide to call it landing. You can decide to call it anything. I'll just say index.jsx. So, sorry. It should be an RAFCE. Inside here now, I just need to paste what I'm returning. Okay, so that is that. What again do I want? Let's go into, okay, we want to set up the routes, right? So inside here now, I think I don't need this CSS too. So I just need to import. I need my routes coming from React Router DOM, and then I need my routes. I need those two things. So first thing, I need to, what is just going to be here is just routes. Oh, sorry, routes, go round. And let me just remove this whole fragments. I know I'm just returning one thing here. So inside here now, I need to do a single route. Let's see. So what is this thing taking? Routes. So it needs a path. Let's see. It needs a path. So let's say my first page, so where I want to land. And then it also needs the element. So element is equals to, so now this first page now, I need to import it inside here. I'll just say import rather. Import, and I'll just get index, but I'm just going to change this home. So I think I will just change that. Let me see if this works anyway. Skeptical. Yeah, so it does all, okay, it works. Huh? All right, so So yeah. So what I was expecting here is, well, because it's not a named export. Yeah, so I just renamed this. Yeah. What me I was expecting to do here now, I could just come here and just say home. It's actually a functional component. So first I just do this and it still works fine. So depending, but this is my entry, this is my landing page. So this happens. I'm able to see this. So this is this page. Let's say now I want to, so this is my first page. I've set up routes for my very first page. And I'm going to remove this guy because, well, it's squiggly lines. So this is for this one. Let's say I want an about page. I'll just say about .jsx. And I'll just do my RAFCE, right? Remove this guy. So I need to set up routes for this. So I go to my app. I do imports. Okay. And then I do about because that's what I want to bring in. So I need to now do this element about. So if I come and I do a slash, oh, what happened? Oh, I did not do this. No, nobody saw that. Yep. So slash about. So this is me defining my about. So you see, I'm able to get this inside here. So I am able to route from one point to the other, from one point to the other. Yeah. Why are you saying just about? Ask your question properly. Don't give me ideas. Remember, you can do
Page,
multiple
please
routes.
open the about page. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I've opened it.
I go back to the router, the home page. That's app.jss.
Okay.
If you put part about, just about, like how does he know that okay you've imported, like how does he know that it is the place they're talking about? I thought you have to put something like app dot something or
No.
link to something like that. I don't know this part then.
Okay, so did you see this? It's just defining that this part, not what we are importing. We are importing this as a functional component. It's more like components. Yes, just take it like it's a component. You're now saying when we go to this route, show this component. When we go to this route, show this particular component. And it has to import it and point to this particular component. That's why it's a named export. It's a named export. So it just, yeah. So it just gets that this is, well, this is about. So I'm exporting about. So I'm expecting about, and it's pointing to this file and displays that. So yes, that is just it. That is just this. So now what we want to do is let's just play around with a bit of tailwind, a bit of tailwind. So I am just going to inside my helper function, that is oh, I don't have any helper function. Let me just create. Let me just create folder, right? Folder. I will just call it utils. Now inside here now, I just need a file. Let me just call it data.js. So inside here now, I just want to create. I don't want to repeat the whole route, okay. Okay, I'll come to this. We have to just think and think. So inside, let's say my about page. Let me just go to my about page. I want to put pages about. I want to put a nav bar inside here. How do I do this? So we'll just have to think about it in different steps anyway. Okay, so who is helping me out? Who is the who is the tailwind guru that is going to help me? So let me just do a nav first. Or let me just do a section. And I have my nav. All right, help me out, help me out. So let me just say I have my H2. Let me say, I'll just call this tailwind. That's like supposed to be where my logo is. And then, well, that's when you're thinking. So, but first things first, let's just play around with it. We'll now move it, we'll now start moving it like that. So we have what you can use your UL. You have your LI. So let's just say home. So about, or again, let me just say gallery, and then contact. Okay. So let's see what is our page looking like. Wow, we have all of this. We don't even know what is going on. Okay, so what do I need to do? So I need my tailwind to be on this side. I need my text to be on this side. And first things first, for the love of God, I don't want it to be touching the edge. So how do we do that? Please, I need us to be interactive at this point in time.
We put a small padding or margin.
Hey, why are you going padding on margin? Oh. Okay, so the way I would do it, so I'll just do this. So there are different ways anyway.
You can give value the container that contains all of them.
Okay, yeah, so I'll just do that container. Well, okay, yeah, so this holds it. Yeah, the next thing, okay. People that are king of bootstrap. Okay, so container. Now, the way I would do this is I want to give this a width, and I'll give this a width with respect to whichever device I am actually going to use. The beauty of Tailwind is that, yes, it's all in line. It's all in line. You do everything here and you can sleep well. Well, not for all of them. So let's do this now. So there is a width. Remember, if you go back to Bootstrap class, for those of us that did Bootstrap, your grid system, you divide it into 12, right? Call MB and so on and so forth. Now, the same way you can divide your screen here into 12. You can divide your screen into 12 parts. Now, what I want to do is I want to give it an 11 over 12. So this is my width, an 11 over 12. I want to give it a BG of red and 100 so that we get to see. No, let me make this visible. Precious. Allow me to cast you. So let's just do 900 is too much. 500. Okay, so let's see what it looks like. So I actually have this. So this is my width. And let's say my container, I want it to be like this screen size, or maybe most of my devices. So I don't want, because of I've given this a width, this does not, we have this extra space here. Now I want to position this in the center of this page. What do I do? So I can just do, remember, in Bootstrap, mx is for, yeah, mx auto. Yep. So this places this in the center of my page. I don't need to stretch myself, and it's just fine. Now, the other thing I would like to do here now is, well, for these guys, depending on however you want to do this, depending on how you want to do this, this could, well, I can just do a flex here. There are different ways. This is just where it's coming to mind. If I run into any roadblock, I'll rethink my step. So I keep it flex, so that is keeping this and this other guy on the same level. But then I want these guys to be on this end and then this one to be here. So what do? I'll just say justify contents. Oh, that's justify between. You're going with tailwind. Now, please, whenever you're confused about anything, just go to tailwind documentation. I'm able to do this because I've played around with tailwind for a while. And well, this one comes, yeah, it comes to mind easily. So this is justify between, and then these guys, they're here and here. Now I want this other guy to lie down one after the other. So what do? Yeah, who is helping me out?
Flex. Yeah, enter container and give them specify between.
I can just do this here. I can just do class and I just do flex, right? So I have this now. But then my navbar is now thin. So what do? I can just do, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Where do I put my padding? Let me just see PY, or should I do it all around? Oh, and that is not even the place. So this should have been inside where? Inside this container, right? Yeah, there's actually a tailwind extension. And okay, so this is this. If I need, so this is Y, the Y is for the Y axis, so top and bottom. If I want it to go all around, I can just do P3, and it kind of gives me this thing in here. Okay, so I sent something. So I just need it for my Y axis, so that works. We're saying something about giving a gap. that what you guys said I should do? A gap of how many? So there are different distances. If I go here, let's say I need like 12 pixels, a gap of. So I have this gap, each of them. My contact is one that. Okay. So this is what we have so far. This is what we have so far. Person. But then I don't even think I'm actually doing this thing right. I don't think I'm doing this right. Okay. Okay. So let's say I just needed a shadow. Needed a shadow underneath. Okay. I'm going to remove this background color. Let's see how it looks. I think based on the design, so that's the way this thing will make sense. Any design that you're given. So I'm just doing this, playing around with this. Now, well, so this is how my navbar is currently. This is how my navbar is currently. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is so far so good. This is what we have. And I think I would just like this padding to have been on the top instead. I think it's because of that color. That was why I was thinking it. Well, whatever that did. Let me just make it 4. All right, so well, this is just one step. This is one step. Now, the other thing is, well, my nav. This is just this. Let me just make this bold. So I go to where I need to use it, class name. Let me just say font bold. Let's say texts. Actually missed something. Okay. So they are actually different colors. It's just me playing around. This since you can actually check Tailwind documentation to see whichever color, but this is just me playing around with this. And then based on the design, well, very soon we'll have to pick out a design and start working on it. Okay, I think someone is unmuted and that is interfering. Yeah. Right. Okay, so yeah. So I have this. Let's see what it looks like. This is my tailwind. This is this. Now, remember that we set up routes in here. And this is not how our routes, this is not what it's supposed to even be like. So we are supposed to do this in a more effective way. So what do we do? Tailwind people, Abi React people who has done routing before. So we need to do
What's the question?
Yeah, so I want to change this thing to routes instead of, well, instead of lists that I have here.
What if we import link or nav link? Won't it work?
Yeah, that's, you need to import link from React Router DOM. And well, link takes what? The home. Inside here, you are going to do two, and then you have to put the route. So this is just this. Let's see, what's the difference between this and this? So you see this. Now the thing with using link, instead of using, yeah. So the thing with so the thing with using link is that it doesn't allow you to like if you use an A tag for some people, I think when I started out, you see people doing the A, href, and all of that. Now, if you use something like this is going to cause your page to reload. But because of how web has developed, you can switch pages. Let me just show this. Really. So the thing with using an A tag is, yeah, when I click on this, see the reload that happens. And we don't want that reload. So for us to manage that reload, you have to import link, and it's coming from React Router DOM. Then you pass this inside. So I'm just going to do the same thing. This guy, do the same thing. This guy, same thing. This guy. So I have what about? I think those are the two routes that I have. Okay, so I think I'm actually going to run into a problem. So if I want to go to about, nothing happened. There was no reload. There was just no reload. So home just switched without making any noise, and you're able to go back however you want. So the thing is, I've not set up this kind of globally so that that happens. But now look at, so we have two problems here, and one problem is that, well, the navbar, yeah, you can't use this everywhere. You have to copy this code and use it wherever you want to use this. And it's a problem. That's problem number one. Number two, we are repeating this guy too much. So how do we manage that? Ideas. Malox, you were saying something earlier.
Can we? I saw something like doing a layout for the links, and then create a navbar component.
Okay. So you saw somewhere, B, you've done.
No, I saw somewhere.
Hey, modesty will not kill us in this place. Okay. Oh. So I want to create what? Components folder. Okay, inside this components, I want what? Header. And I will just array FCE my way. And I'm just returning this guy. All right, this is where I actually need this. Only import, not import. Import link. Yeah, this is where I actually need this. So go back to my about, remove this one and this one here for now. Then I just import my header. Okay. Yeah. So I'm able to still do everything I want to do. It is okay, so this is one. Now the other thing is, well, inside our header, we are still repeating these guys. So how do I handle this? What do you think that we can do? Okay. Yeah, what do you think? Okay, so let me just do that. Yeah, so I will just do an export once. Now link. Just create an array. Inside here, I could just do this ID. I'm just creating this ID. I'm just doing one and just say name, home, apps, or just whatever URL, whatever name you want to give it. It should be a string rather. Okay, so about uh okay, what was the other one? Gallery. And okay, then contact. All right, so here is region. Okay, so I need to put my commas and then this. All right, so I've created, so this is a named export. So for me to use this nav links where I want to use this, I need to do what? Import. And I am importing what? Nav links. I use small this thing. Yeah, so nav links from data. So from utils data. And then inside here, I'll do my whole nav links dot map. And inside here, I'll just do a nav link. I hope I'm not clashing with their own. So depending, you can just think of a better name for that. And then so return. I'm just going to return one of this. Okay. So because I'm mapping, I need to add a key. And my key is what? Nav link ID. And this my tool. I have to bring what? Oh, I actually wanted to destructure this thing instead. Okay, that was why I did the whole return thing inside here. If not, I would have just gone straight up. So yeah, somebody should help me. Let's destructure it. Yeah, are we together? const, and I am just getting my ID, I'm getting my URL, I'm getting my name. They are all coming from where? Nav link. Inside here now, instead of doing this nav link of this, just to, then for my part, I'll just do URL. Then here now do name. Let's see, does this work? Okay, so let me check. We have about, we have gallery, we have contacts. So are we, does anybody have any question? So you see how we've kind of simplified our code, and we are now using Tailwind, we are using all of this, and very beautiful, and it's all good. So class, text. Mm, okay, so I'm running out of colors. Yeah, you're repeating your code a lot. So whatever it is, you can just play around with it. All of them will have that same color. So, so that's just the beauty of working with this thing. So I'll need us, yeah, I'll need us to, I believe all of us, I believe we've done, what do they call it? We've done our app with, what do they call it? Use reducer. So that is one. What again? Yeah, I need us to go and practice, just practice doing this. So in the next class, what we're going to talk about is how do we make this header to run around for different, what do they call it? Okay, precious, I don't know yet. So that outlet stuff. Okay, so we what we're going to do is we're just going to take things one after the other. Hopefully we'll get to that point where we talk about that outlet thing. uh, I think outlets is as confusing as what. So well, we'll get to that point. We'll actually get to that point. Yes. Folder structure. Let's do it in the next class. So we'll organize everything, how we want to handle it in the next, like everything in the next class. We'll just arrange it. So that's what our focus for next week is. I think most of all we've done routing, we've done most of the hooks. Are done. Then the other thing is later on we'll talk about maybe optimization and using some other hooks too. But for now, the basic hooks, we've touched them. So it's now for us to start building things with this. So that is just this thing. That is the beauty of it. I believe that we are learning and it's interesting. So small. We'll get to that point. We'll talk about that. So any other question? Any question? Okay. So yeah, in the absence of that, so your promotional task is going to come on the board today. And yeah, I think that's just it. Promotional task. Funny enough, I'm sure you guys must have finished
Okay,
it a
but
lot. Yeah.
you on the final note, to me, with what we have learned so far, we should be able to thrive in the ongoing court bootcamp. What's it called? HNG now.
Yeah, you're from here, you can actually learn. You can actually learn a whole like the basics, you've gotten it. It's just when you go there, or if you're doing HND, you just need to keep learning and learning on top of it. But the basics, you're fine.
Because I passed the first stage one. This stage two, yeah, I'm really finding it difficult to even fetch those data. I got my API tokens and everything, but it keeps giving me error each time I try to fetch. I'm kind of
You have
I should
kings. See kings, them, then they here. Austin, they here. Precious, they here.
I
Yeah.
like
Gochuku,
the
they here.
this class. Not participate. This React
Yeah,
class.
but then I think you're actually good to go because HND is something that you learn on the job. You learn on the job and you've gotten like the basic knowledge. I think for
Yes,
me,
now because we have the use effects, I'll be able to use that, but it's just the I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Just that. And once I'm
yeah,
able to fetch, I know I the
you're
UI.
good.
I will just
Yes. Yeah, if you're able to fetch it, then you're fine. You're good.
so Austin, I beg
So
after this your DMO red line.
so it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. And I will actually advise at some point, yeah, you can also go ahead and try it out. Try it out. When you get the chance, go and try that out. It will put you on your on your toes and all of that. But it's good to have like there are people that did not know that did not I think I knew somebody from where? What do they call that? Decagon. Yeah. That was even when I was doing HND, I was even showing how to do React as at that point. So well, it happens. It happens. Yeah, so well, in the next class we have like a couple of things to learn. I don't have a UI. Well, probably I'll just bring out a UI and then we'll start working on it and we'll see how it goes. I think that will help us. That will help us go a long way. So that is that. I don't know if any other person has any question. If not, we'll wrap up. Yeah, all right, guys. So it's actually nice. Yeah,
Sorry,
awesome.
can I jump in?
Uh-huh.
So I am experiencing a little bit of difficulty usually
Mm-hmm.
remember how to write a particular code that I've written before we get like how what do you suggest that will help a master it? Because you can't keep encountering the same problem every time. But most of the time what I usually do is go back to the code I wrote before then try and rewrite it and maybe change a few things to make it fit into the way I'm writing it. I don't know, but I don't feel like that's a good representation of someone that knows how to do something. I'm just trying
Well,
to.
yeah, well, there are some basic lessons. Let's say, for instance, now, when you think about mapping now, mapping should actually come to mind like, well, with ease. When you think about some array functions, they should just come with ease. But where it gets tricky is when, let's say, some deep applications, we have like shallow things that, well, when you think about it, they should just come to your mind. So, but then it doesn't mean that, yeah, you can't Google a bit. you can't Google a bit, or you can't go back to like some previous code. There are some codes that, yes, I know I've written that each time I just want to do it. Each time I want to do it. Each time I just want to, let me get something. Let me see. Name of that my app. Task. Okay. Okay, so they are just codes. I'm trying to get something here. Serious. They have to log me out. Okay, so there are some codes that I know I've written before, but for me to come and start rewriting it, I just go there and just pick it and reuse it. That's so for those of you, this is my own task management, blah, blah, blah. So I have 20 things on my screen. So something of this sort now, this is my modal. I have somewhere that I've created this. And whenever I need to use it, I just pick it up and reuse it. Maybe the only thing I need to tweak, if the modal is actually something of this sort, I still use it as it is. But if it's a bit different, I need to like tweak it to be however it should be. So yeah, you don't necessarily there are things that you can actually remember and you should remember. So you just need to like practice those things and let them stick to mind. Like it's not like you're cramming it, you're just understanding the flow. But then there are just some things that, well, you need to like look back and then understand how it's check back and see how you were able to achieve it and all and all. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, I understand. I understand. It just makes me feel less of this impression. What's this syndrome called? Um,
Imposters. Imposter.
imposter syndrome. Yes.
Yeah, it all happens. But the thing is, well, you just need to, yeah, be practicing. Be practicing. As you practice, it sticks. Because most times when you don't practice, it just is as if you don't know it. It's as if you can't do
So
it.
I do on another page, like the one you're showing us, or still on this same page, when you add the code.
When I add, I'm doing everything on a single page. I'm doing
On this same
everything.
page, because it's very big, like it's covering the whole page already.
Yes. So this is just a pop-up. So when I do this, I get task added successfully, and I'm able to close that, and then this. So when I'm done with the task, I have this. I can also edit the task and also change my due date whenever, and then update it. So I'm able to delete, and I get back to this.
Wow.
So now
Now I
another thing
understand.
that, yeah. So another thing, yeah. What did you say?
Now I understand the reason you gave me that small mark. I was like, it works now.
So another thing that,
I don't talk about my own. No. My own mark. My GPA just dey drop. I know say na my design and other things where I no understand, but I just calm down. I go learn React.
yeah. So another thing that we need to we need to understand is um another thing we need to understand is that when you're creating an app, you also need to think about what happens if I have so many to-dos here? What if I need to scroll? Yeah, what if I need to scroll? Let's say I add. And I have plenty to-dos here. Now this my button will still be here. Even if I resize my page. Oops. I think I need to adjust this a bit. Inspect. So this stuff is still here. No matter how long my distance is, still here. And this is built with Tailwind and, well, everything. Tailwind and this. I think I've also done this thing with Redux. I've also done this with Redux recently. So yes, you also need to think about it. I didn't have a design. I didn't have a design. So that's why you're seeing everything like this. And I'm also using local storage to manage this thing. So when I reload, it's still here. So those are like things that you can try out. Things you can try out. Okay. Men and brethren.
Oppression. It is press our neck here. It does the press our neck. It's fine.
All right. So, but then let's just I just needed us. That's why I just said just go and think however you want to display your own, however you want to display your own, and you can just display it and bring it. I actually saw a whole lot of things. I saw terrible things, but then it is what it is. So, but then going forward, Sha, I think I'll just come up with a UI, but I just needed us to have that design mentality and be able to work on things. So, but then going forward, I'll bring a UI, work on it, and then, yeah, we'll learn as we go. I think that is that. Any other question? Is Barry here? Oh, don't go to Google. Okay. So I think that's where we'll just draw the curtain. So let's come next week. We'll do a whole lot. All right, guys. Have a great day ahead. See you next week. And I'll put up your promotional task. Yeah. Welcome.
Can you give us one more weekend now? One more weekend.
Don't worry when you see the task. All right. Yeah, take care, guys.